Hello my Luminites, it is Ivy and welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, hello, my name is Ivy, also known as Intuitive IVM here on YouTube. I am the co-founder of an amazing spiritual business company where I also do tarot readings on there called unearthlytreasures.com. We sell things such as earrings, oils, spell jar necklaces, sprays, candles, as well as we are releasing mystery boxes. I'm so excited to be releasing the mystery boxes. We're gonna have 3 tiers for them, a $30 tier, a $50 tier, and then a very like high-end like $70 tier, but you're gonna be able to get like $120 worth of stuff for it. So it's worth it with all of the products that we have, as well as some exclusive products that we don't just sell on there that we're just gonna have strictly for the mystery boxes. So yes, so that being said, like I'm so excited to be releasing mystery boxes, especially since I'm such a huge fan of like subscription boxes, so I'm excited for that. Also, I started a brand new podcast called the Woo Woo Podcast that I will also post a link to down below. The Woo Woo Podcast is a podcast for the spiritually open-minded, and the last episode that we covered is all about aliens and extraterrestrials. So anyways, hello my Luminites. Hi, my name is Ivy. This channel is all about the magical, the mystical, and the supernatural. So if you are into one or all 3 of those things, please consider hitting that subscribe button to be notified when I post. I usually post 3 times a week. Mondays are for the magical, Wednesdays are for the mystical, and Fridays are for the supernatural. Today, we're going to be talking about some supernatural phenomenon. We're going to be talking about a very popular theory that's so popular. There's a lot of geniuses and billionaires believe in it, including Elon Musk. We are going to be talking about the simulation theory. The theory that all of this that we're living in, that we breathe, that we feel, that we eat, is all a simulation and we're not real. As well as some evidence, so-called evidence, that the simulation theory is true. So let's go ahead and take a look. So there's a theory out there that says we are supposedly living in a simulation. If you guys have seen that Keanu Reeves movie with like The Matrix, kind of like that basically, or if you guys have played The Sims, we're basically the Sims. We're not real. We're in some other computer and we're just being controlled by these other beings. And they say that there's a lot of evidence behind this simulation theory. First one starting with the Mandela Effect. So if you guys have heard of the Mandela Effect, it's a really huge theory that I can go into in a whole separate video. I will go into in a whole separate video. The Mandela Effect started after Nelson Mandela's death in 2013, because when he passed away in 2013, there were a lot of people that gathered together and were like, no, I strictly remember seeing TV news coverage stating that he had passed away in jail in the 1980s. People started having this basically hive mind to certain events that didn't really happen, at least not in this world. So Nelson Mandela is one example. The next example is like the Berenstain Bears. Everybody knows the Berenstain Bears. They had like a little show, they had books. Apparently, it's not Berenstain Bears and it's Berenstain Bears. So the Berenstain Bears were never a thing, and people remember clearly being at Berenstain with an E, not an A. So there's just like countless of examples of the Mandela Effect. So people are saying that the reason why all these things are happening is because there's some sort of glitch in the matrix, and maybe the programmer that created this whole simulation world that we're living in changed a few things here and there, and that's why some people remember certain events that didn't actually happen. Number 2, another piece of evidence that people say basically proves even more that we are part of a simulation are the fact that there are like aliens missing. So obviously it's already come to our attention that aliens exist, UFOs exist, like they're real, they're an actual thing. So they say that obviously aliens being able to travel galaxies far, far away, they're able to come to us so quickly because obviously they're more advanced. So they're saying that the reason why is because these advanced beings have found a way to break out of the simulation and move forward with their lives, and us, not being as advanced as them, are still stuck in this simulation world. Okay, so the next one is all about like electrons that like just do this thing. So this one I'm gonna read strictly from here just because it's a mouthful. So in physics, a famous double slit experiment, electrons are fired at a photosensitive screen through slits in a copper plate, usually producing an interference pattern that indicates a wave-like behavior. But when the same experiment is conducted under observation, electrons behave like patterns, not waves, and there's no interference pattern. Some have taken this to mean that our simulation is conserving its resources and rendering certain things only when it knows you're looking at them. So I think that one is really cool and really interesting, and it makes sense, and it's something that I've thought about since I was little. Like, oh my gosh, like what if everybody's not real and they only start to move when I'm close by? And so this theory states that electrons are kind of proving that. So like imagine you're here, you're at home, right? And then you go travel to Paris, for example. Well, obviously, as you're traveling to this place, you can't see it from home. So you can only see what's around you. So the simulation is only creating, you know, your town, well, as far as your eye can see. Once you leave that area and are traveling to Paris, then the simulation starts expanding further and further so that you're slowly able to see Paris. Does that make any sense? I hope that makes sense. If you guys play The Sims, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, because Sims kind of does something like that. You can see the town, and then they also say that explains why like you're only able to get so far in space, because the programmers that created the simulation program can't reach that far yet, and we're already trying to get to this space, so they're like, nope, this is a boundary zone, this is off limits, you can't get that far. Is basically what it's stating. So I find that really interesting. So next is DNA that contains a computer virus. So in 2017, a multidisciplinary group of researchers at the University of Washington proved that they could embed malicious computer code into actual physical strands of DNA. That's insane. Their aim was to show that computers working in gene sequences were vulnerable to attack, but they may have inadvertently revealed that what we perceive to be biological reality was in fact a computer code all along. That one's very fascinating. So the next is the climate change. So our civilization is just coincidentally set on the cusp of environmental chaos, suggesting that we could be an ancestor simulation created in the hopes that we'd be able to show our creators how to solve an energy crisis. This theory overlaps slightly with the aliens as simulation quitters theory above. So if we found an innovative solution to climate crisis, extraterrestrial beings might return to crib the results. So basically saying that we were created here in this like messed up climate because the creators that programmed us basically want us to find a way to fix this whole climate change, and if we do, then we basically have served our purpose, and maybe those extraterrestrials that broke through the simulation are able to return back here to us. The probability of us being the actual real reality is 1 in a billion, because you have a computer program, and then that computer program creates other computer programs, and then that simulation creates more simulation programs. So the fact that it's so infinite, basically he's saying that proves that we're 1 in a billion. And I was watching this video with Neil deGrasse Tyson for research for this video, that he basically says there's a theory that his friend has that proves that we're not in a simulation, because the thing is, if there's all these simulations, right, if the base creators created a simulation reality where simulation already exists, then those realities already know that simulation exists and create more realities where simulation exists, and, you know, go on and so forth. Then that explains it. But we are currently living in a reality where simulation doesn't exist yet, not at this point in time. So he says that that decreases the chances of being 1 in a billion chance that we're living in a simulation to 50-50, because we're either living in a simulation where simulation hasn't been created, or which the odds of that aren't that high because every other simulation supposedly already has the simulation thing going, or we are the base reality that's going to create the simulation realities, which I find was really interesting. So that brings it from 1 to 1 billion to a 50-50 probability that we are either the base reality or the simulated reality that hasn't yet created more simulation realities. So it decreases it from 1 in a billion to 50-50, which I think is really cool. So we're either the very first simulation or the main base reality. So that's some bit of nugget of information to that I thought was really interesting. Yes, we don't have this like huge simulated reality, but we do have The Sims. So we do have something to refer to it, and The Sims is a game that I'm stuck on. And the fact that we now have VR, if they bring Sims to the VR, you guys, I'm telling you, it's game over for my life, because I'm gonna be on that shiznit all day, every single day. So yeah, so what do you guys think about this whole simulation theory? Do you guys believe that we are living in a simulation? What do you guys think about the evidence behind it? Anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Again, tune into if you like this shiznit, please tune into my podcast, the Woo Woo Podcast. I will put down the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.